Hi everyone, it's Laura here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to create a floral card using the Altenew watercolor brush markers and some stamps by Altenew. The set of markers I will be using today is the Tropical Fiesta set, and this is a new set of watercolor brush markers by Altenew. We have 10 different colors and I will be swatching them for you in a minute. But before, I wanted to let you know that this card is part of a blog hop to celebrate the release of these markers. So once you're done watching this video, make sure to visit my blog because there will be giveaways going on there and also tons of inspiration on the blog hop. In order to be able to use the markers, you need to remove that yellow plastic band. And to do that, you're going to unscrew the tip of the markers from the base. This way you can remove the yellow band. And then you can screw the tip back on the base and your marker is ready to be used. These markers work in a way very similar to water brushes. So in order to get your color flowing and to control the flow of your color in the tip of your brush, you can push on the barrel of the marker. And here I am showing you a quick swatch of all the colors. Started with purple wine, the second one is crimson, the third one is sun-kissed, and I'm also blending them out with water to show you how they fade and how they react with water. So you can use these markers as is, or you can blend them with each other or with water. This green here is called Sweet Leaf, and then there is a second green in the set which is called Lime, and I really love this one. There are two blues. This one is called Turquoise, and you can see how nicely these markers flow and how easily you can blend them with water. They are really fun to use. The second blue is called Desert Night and it's a very rich deep blue. And then we have two browns. The first one is more of a warm brown and it's called Paper Bag. And the second brown, which I'm going to swatch on the back of my swatch chart here, is more of a cold brown and it's called Lava Rock. For my card today, I decided to play again with the Altenew Wallpaper Art Stamp Set. This was part of the March 2019 release and it's absolutely gorgeous with these big bold flowers, which are great for practicing watercoloring too, and you have a lot of space to color your images. I stamped quite a few and I started doing some coloring off camera to try out my markers. And here I'm showing you the coloring the way I did it. I decided to blend them with water and I'm using the colors Crimson, and afterwards I will come in with the color Fresh Lemon. I am starting by applying the color in the areas where I think the shadows will be, so at the base of the petals. And then I am using a water brush which is filled with water. And as you can see, I am starting from the tip of the petals, so away from the areas where I have my markers. And I'm basically painting water inside the petals and bringing it to where I have the markers already laid down. And the moment the water touches the markers, the pigments will start flowing and will flow also in the areas where I only have water, so at the tip of the petals. And this way I create a color gradient and obtain some shading on my flowers. And if you want, you could already stop here and you can see that there is already such a nice shading on this flower, and you can go ahead and die cut it and use it on your cards. But lately I have been enjoying adding several layers of colors to my watercolor cards because I feel it brings some richness and some variation that one layer only does not produce. At least I can't produce with only one layer. So for that reason I am coming in with the marker Fresh Lemon and I am adding some yellow to the base of the petals and then blending it out towards the tip, using again that same technique that I used before. And lastly, to deepen the shadows and increase the contrast, I am adding one last layer of that crimson I used at the beginning. And the shading technique is always the same. So adding color to the base of the petals and then blending it out with my water brush, starting to lay down water at the tip of the petals and bringing the water towards the marker, and then moving on to another petal and letting the water do the trick. So the water will move the pigment itself and I don't need to work on that area anymore. And personally, I feel that this technique helps me preserve the highlights so that I still have a good contrast in my images. For the leaves, I will be using the two markers in the set, so the sweet leaf and the lime. Again, laying down the markers in the areas where I think the shadows will be and then blending them out with a water brush. I stamped and colored quite a few flowers, but I will be showing you the coloring just for this panel over here, otherwise the video will be way too long. In general, I prefer stamping more than I need and maybe having leftovers that I can use on future projects, rather than finding myself halfway through my card and realizing that I need more flowers or more elements in general, and then I have to go back and stamp everything again and color again. I used the same color combination for all the flowers and all the leaves, so crimson and fresh lemon for the poppies and sweet leaf and lime for the leaves. And by the way, I wanted to let you know that if you are interested in any of the products that I'm showing today, you can find a full list of the products I used in the description box on YouTube as well as on my blog, where I remind you there is a blog hop with giveaways going on. All the links are in the description box down below, so make sure to check them out if you're interested. Once I was done coloring the images, I made sure that they were completely dry, and then I die cut them with the coordinating dies to this stamp set, which by the way also comes with a coordinating stencil, which is really fun to use. I have a card on my blog where I used that for some masking, and I will share the link in the description box down below if you're interested in taking a look at that too. And after having die cut all the images, I moved on and started working on the background. Because the flowers are so large and they have such a beautiful design, I don't need to do a lot on the background itself. So what I did is I figured out how I wanted to arrange the flowers on my card. I then scribbled a little bit of my turquoise marker on the center of the floral arrangement, so this is a little bit shifted to the left of the card in the central area. And then I blended that out with some water, not trying to get a very smooth result. On the contrary, some texture is always interesting on the backgrounds. And then I am now adding some splatter because I think it's always a lot of fun. I first made sure that my panel was completely dry, and then I added some splatters with Desert Night and Turquoise, again from the Tropical Fiesta set by Altenew. I decided to mat this panel with some black cardstock, so I trimmed it to 4 by 5¼ inches using my Tonic Studios mini guillotine trimmer. And then I taped it to my card base, which is out of some black cardstock cut at 5½ by 4¼ inches. I played around with the arrangement of the florals before going ahead and gluing them down. And for this kind of cards, well, in general, I like to use liquid adhesive, but especially for floral arrangements, I find it's very nice because it gives you some time to wiggle things in place and position them exactly where you want. And in this case, to speed things up in the placement of each element on my card, I first coated their back with glue, so all of them, and then I started adhering them on my card front. This saves me some time in the stage where I actually go ahead and place the elements on my card. And this way I am able to lift what I already have going on my card and tuck things behind and get exactly the floral arrangement that I'm looking for. I then hit embossed the sentiment "Congratulations" from that same Wallpaper Art Stamp Set, and I trimmed it into a thin strip from which I obtained a label that I glued down with one layer of foam tape on the bottom right area of my card. And as a finishing touch, I decided to use a Spectrum Noir clear overlay pen to create some shimmery splatters. You could also use perfect pearls and dilute them with water, and I'm protecting the flowers because I want the shimmer to only be on the background. And here is the final result. I really loved using these markers, the flow is great and the colors are really pretty, and I cannot wait to play with them even more. And that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. You can visit my blog for the blog hop and the full list of supplies, and I'll catch you guys soon with the next video. Ciao!